NYYST. This is New York. Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York. Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York. Yankee sports talk, homie, New York. Yankee sports talk. Record, rain, or shine. Grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST. You're hanging with the fellas.
Welcome back. This is episode 425 of the NYYST podcast. We're live here on NYY Underground. I'm your host, Christian, as always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
Yo.
And SGR.
Okay.
We are live here on a Monday night. The Yankees are enjoying a nice off day after a 5-1 road trip through Seattle and Oakland. They just swept the A's, and the magic number to win the American League East is 1.
If El Gato shows up here, well, then you know it's all gone wrong.
Why did you do that?
Because I said uno, and I wanted to hear El Gato.
I miss El Gato.
Okay. The Yankees, they have 6 games left to play. All they got to do is win one of them, and they'll walk away American League East champions. It feels so nice that we finally gotten to this point of the season here where we can, we got to get another win here, okay? But after everything that we went through this regular season, that the Yankees have reached their goal pretty much of being the American League East champions. Am I touching the money in saying that? If they go 0-6 and the Orioles go 6-0, come at me, okay? You can come at me. I'll take the heat for it. But for right now, I'll confidently say the Yankees are going to be the American League East champions. The magic number is 1. After everything that we went through here, we actually sat here and did a show where we had to actually consider whether or not this team was going to make the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to be the top seed in the American League East. They're right now Vegas's favorites. Not that this means anything, to win the World Series. It's pretty wild. I mean, we got 6 games left to go here, but after this weekend here, the Yankees really put their foot on the Orioles' necks here. They for the first time in a long time, possibly ever under Aaron Boone, that the Yankees smelled blood in the water and they chomped like the shark should.
Yeah, and how much of it is them chomping like the shark should, and how much of it is this team finally just rounding back into form? Like, this is the team we saw at the beginning of the year plus more, right? And it was so frustrating to see them fall off because of how good they were. And this is the first time now, you want to talk about first times, it's the first time now that Aaron Boone has had a team go off the rails and actually come back on track in an even stronger way heading into the games that mean the most.
Yankees are 12-4 in their last 16 games right now.
Does it really feel that way? I guess after this road trip it does. But, like, even over the last month, you're almost shocked at how well they've played.
Yeah, I mean, for the first time in a long time that the Yankees have really we talked about this a lot throughout the course of the year, is that a hallmark of Aaron Boone's teams is that once they get punched, they don't seem to get up. And even if they do make the postseason, they never really get back on a winning track here. And over the last 3 weeks, the Yankees have been winning a lot of baseball games, and they've been doing it in a lot of different ways. Some days they slug, some days they pitch. And this is what I want to kind of start to show with here is, and I think we touched on this briefly in the last episode, is this the most confident that you felt in an Aaron Boone-led team going into the postseason? And I have to say that it is, for a lot of reasons. And the one big reason, this is the healthiest Aaron Boone-led team going into October that we've seen.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely would say it's the most confident, because I guess the last good run that he had, really good run where they came close, was what, 17?
19.
Well, he wasn't the manager in 17.
No, then I'm thinking I meant 19 then.
Yeah,
And that
17 was
wasn't
the
really,
Girardi year.
but not yet, right? No, yeah, right. I'm getting my years mixed up. 19. No, they were a pretty solid team, but see, I think the big reason what's making me so confident in this Aaron Boone led team is the field being less competitive this year. That their opponents and what's standing in the way maybe aren't as strong as they were in years past, but you'll still have to most likely get through Houston, but
I
not as
think
strong Houston.
I think it's definitely a fair point, but if we're just taking this based off the Yankees alone, what Christian said is definitely true, being the healthiest, but there's also a different feel in a sense of the clubhouse. I feel like there's just a different energy that the Yankees haven't had in a while, and we touched on that a few weeks ago. There's also a different feel in a sense of the Yankees made the difficult decisions where we say smart or Yankees, and they usually are Yankees, and they made the smart moves. The biggest, I mean, you want to talk about a decision that, in my opinion, might not have directly been the reason why they're back on track, but it certainly helped this team. And it's having a guy in there who can pitch in the ninth that you're confident is going to close out a close game. I mean, it changed the feel of this team completely. You have guys like Jazz from the trade deadline. Judge is starting to come back around. Soto smashing into walls and staying in games, pinch hitting in the 10th inning. You have your ace on the mound throwing 9 innings of 2-hit baseball and then finding a way to win in extra innings against a team that you're supposed to beat. These are all things that SGR has said it year after year after year. The team that wins the World Series is the team that gets hot at the right time, and we just have to keep our fingers crossed that this team is truly getting hot at the right time, and they're going to ride this wave through October.
You really hit it with that, with the fact that Clay Holmes not being the closer anymore is really that what's holding this optimism together, because we would be, no matter if they were on a run right now, we would pretty much start every conversation with, but Clay Holmes is their closer. And no matter how good they look otherwise, that was always the crux of this team, that regardless, he was the guy in the 9th inning. The fact that that isn't the case, and the fact how much this team's value and expectations have skyrocketed since they made that decision, along with, if LeMahieu got hurt, but if he doesn't get hurt, if he's healthy, is he in the lineup still almost every day? I don't know. But he's not in the lineup. Those question marks, those pieces that are weaknesses that they seem to be so adamantly against moving away from, they are moving away from. You have to have an optimism and a positive outlook on their approach this year. It hasn't been, everything we've hoped for in terms of their decision making, but they have made better decisions this year in terms of getting the most optimal lineup and roster possible for a solid run in October, for sure. I mean, there's no doubt in that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the most complete that the Yankees have been going into October under Aaron Boone. You always felt that they were always a piece away, and that's always kind of what you were sold, is that, oh, 2019, but we didn't have the ace. And you get the ace, and it's the COVID year, and then whatever, and then 2021, and then 2022, they didn't have the wingman to go with Aaron Judge, and then Aaron Judge runs into the wall in 2023, and now you have Juan Soto, you have that other superstar in the lineup. You have a guy in Gleyber Torres that has found a role on this team being the leadoff hitter. Then you can, Wells is in a slump. That, okay, but you like this lineup going Gleyber, Soto, Judge, and then you can figure it out with Jazz Stanton and Wells. And then you look at the bottom of this lineup, looks a lot better when Volpi now is 5 for his last 12. Dominguez started looking like he's starting to come around a little bit. And Anthony Rizzo, who's not hitting, but, and that's kind of what I want to talk about too, is, am I overstating Anthony Rizzo's importance to this team right now? Because if you look at his numbers in September, which I just did, he's batting 194 in September
Mm.
with
Well-
no power whatsoever. But he still should play an important role on this team going into October. The Yankees don't have a good first baseman defensively. They have one of the best that may have ever played this game in Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo saves so many errors from occurring. Anthony Rizzo gets so many outs that a normal first baseman wouldn't get. So a lot of people come and they say, well, he sucks offensive. Yeah, I'll tell you for sure. He's terrible. He even when he gets his hits, they're singles, they're off the end of the bat, they find the hole. He's not hitting anything with any exit velocity on. I trust me, I get it. I watch every game. But there
Had a
might
couple
not be
clutch
a more-
hits, though. I mean, he's had a couple 10th inning go-ahead run hits here in this awful stretch offensively.
But are you really looking at that bench and saying anybody on that bench should be playing over Anthony Rizzo right now?
Well, no, and
No.
there's two things, right? I just mentioned he's had a couple clutch hits, whether he sucks or not at the plate. That's an objective fact. I mean, he's had the go-ahead run a couple times in extra innings, which goes a long way because I'll tell you why. We talk about the importance of having the name Anthony Rizzo penciled into a lineup, whether he's hitting or not. And guys like Stanton in this lineup, because it gives it depth, whether it's actual production or it's the pitcher looking and saying, I need to find holes in this lineup. When you have guys like Ben Rice in there or Trent Grisham or some of these other guys that were filling holes, this lineup doesn't go as long as it is now. And Anthony Rizzo provides a spot in this lineup that gives it depth no matter what his performance is. But just like Christian just said, and that you tweeted this week, I don't care what he's doing at the plate at this point, because he objectively makes this entire infield 10 times better. Because I can name for you probably 10 different plays just off the top of my head in this West Coast trip that this game could possibly get out of hand if Anthony Rizzo isn't the first baseman.
Look at that game Saturday night, Chris. How many times was Rizzo the savior over there? He was picking left, one after the other.
And it's not necessarily a knock on the rest of the infield. I know that this team can get sloppy at times, but there's just like, okay, so let's just take Jazz, for example. He's playing out of position. He's never played third base before. He does take, and now third base is tough. Some balls are hit hard, but you kind of see him because he's not used to the position. He gets himself caught pretty deep in the hole when he makes some plays. Instead of maybe coming in on the ball and getting it on a shorter hop, he takes that longer hop and he's back in the hole. And then he has a throw all the way across the diamond. If Anthony Rizzo isn't there, Jazz Chisholm probably has a few more errors just in the last week alone on his stat card.
And if you look at a guy like Anthony Volpi, who I do think is a really good defensive shortstop, the one glaring weakness to me is his arm strength. And I think he knows that he doesn't have to get the ball there to Rizzo. Rizzo's going to scoop that. And it's making it makes Volpi a much better shortstop because he knows he can get rid of the ball quicker. He doesn't have to put as much on it, and he can hop it over there to him, and Rizzo will make the play.
Yeah.
You have to, in October, every single out is at a premium. So if you have a first baseman that can steal an out, 2 outs, maybe 3 outs throughout the course of the game, you cannot put a price tag on that and say, well, maybe Oswaldo Cabrera. I don't listen, man. Oswaldo Cabrera, you want his role in October? Come on and run here, buddy. That's it. I mean, he absolutely. But anybody that wants to make an argument like, oh, he's a backup first baseman, maybe he could steal some. No, not in October, my friend. Anthony Rizzo's got to play every single day in October. And I know and here's the thing. If the Yankees are hitting like they're supposed to hit, Anthony Rizzo can go 0 for the postseason, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
You don't need Anthony Rizzo to hit. Anthony Rizzo, when he was brought here in 2021, yeah, he was brought here to be an offensive force from the left side. Now in 2024, when you have Juan Soto and Jazz Chisholm, you need this guy to be a Gold Glove first baseman. And defense is so important in October. We've seen this team get so sloppy at times, giving teams extra outs. You can't allow that to happen. And when you got a guy that's over there, like I said, that can steal extra outs for you, you don't mess with that.
No.
And yet, you can make an argument, Cabrera for Volpi or Verdugo for Dominguez. You can't make an argument for anybody over Anthony Rizzo based on what Rizzo does offensively because his glove is so special.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, just this West Coast trip alone, I mean, it goes deeper than that, but just over the last handful of games. I mean, you look back at the highlight reel, this guy's making picks, and they're not easy picks. I mean, and it comes naturally to him, effortlessly to him. So just all around, I mean, Rizzo's value, what he does at the plate has almost become trivial at this point. He's just a guy who the Yankees need to rely on defensively.
Yeah, man. That's what I don't understand is why people argue that point when I make it on Twitter. It's like, do you want Oswaldo Cabrera playing first base? You want somebody else besides Rizzo playing first base just because Rizzo's hitting 194?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean,
No.
We saw that this is Jack Curry tweeted after the game on Saturday, or was it Saturday? Whenever it was, that when he does his little game recap, when he said that 1, 2, 3 was going to be Cole, Rodon, and Heel. And then we saw Luis Heel get, not that he got lit up, but he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings because he's walking people again. If the A's are going to make you pay for that, what do you think is going to happen in the postseason?
Any other team's going to destroy you in the postseason.
He ended up giving up 4 in that one?
Yeah, because Hamilton came in and gave up a couple inherited runners.
Okay.
So they got charged to him. But you can't be giving out free base runners. You can't be allowing teams to extend innings. You know what? If you're going to go out there and get, and give up 8 hits in 2 innings and you get, the shit kicked out of you, I'll lose like that. Don't lose by giving the team more chances than they deserve or that they should get. 27 outs should be 27 outs. Don't be giving a team 28 or 29 or 30 outs. Don't be giving a team free passes. It's going to come back to haunt you. And we've seen that happen to the Yankees time and time again. It's not a knock on Luis Heel. He might be the rookie of the year this year. But do you, like we talked about this in the last episode, can you trust him to throw strikes?
No, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I say that so confidently. Because so we used to talk about Stroman nibbling too much and trying to be too cute, right? Luis Heel. See, Stroman would do that because he didn't have confidence in his stuff. He didn't
have the stuff, exactly.
Luis Heel does have the stuff, and he knows he has the stuff. And if there's one team that you can just go after, if you have the ability to just throw strikes and attack the lineup, if you're going to do that against one team, the A's are one of those. I mean, yeah, the White Sox, I guess, but the A's are a team where even if you can't find the plate because you're trying to, paint the corners, you just attack. It's the A's, and he doesn't even have the ability to do that. Because if you attack the A's,
I mean, they're not. I mean, if you look at their numbers, they're not terrible offensively, but
but they're not walk a bunch of guys and give up 4 runs. Good.
No, they're definitely not. But that's what I'm saying. If the A's are going to make you pay for that, what do you think is going to happen in October?
Exactly.
It's that's why, to me, and we talked about this last episode. We don't have to go too super deep into it, but that's why I think Mark Schmidt should get the nodding. You can whichever way you want to do it. You want to back up the lefties, you want to go righty lefty. I don't care, but I think Clark Schmidt and Nestor are the 3-4 guys in whatever order you want to put them, because I think there's a better predictability factor of what you're going to get out of each of those guys.
And it's a really difficult decision on paper, right? Because Luis Heel is probably going to win Rookie of the Year. I think he will. He's had that good of a season, but again, we talk about how it's beyond stats, it's beyond a computer. You got to go with what you're seeing in front of you. And I really think that the Yankees are going to make this a tougher decision than we are here, in that it's just so cut and dry.
But I don't think and look, not for nothing, for the Yankees' sake, and I don't think it should be that cut and dry, because the allure of Luis Gil going out there and dropping his balls on the mound for
Yes.
even 5 innings and getting into that bullpen,
You're getting dominant shit,
is enticing.
Mm-hmm.
But can you trust? And can you trust him to do that? If Luis Gil throws strikes, he might be the most dominant starter in the postseason.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes. And what I was going to say is, it might not
But that's
be
a big if. It's 2 letters, but
Yes.
it's a huge 2 letters.
Huge.
If.
Huge. Cats and dogs. But here's why it's not going to be so cut and dry. Eat the cat. It's not going to be so cut and dry for the Yankees, and that's why I think Clark Schmidt's next start here is a huge audition for the postseason. I think Clark Schmidt goes out there and absolutely dominates. It makes this a little bit easier for the Yankees to say, yeah, Luis Gil is probably rookie of the year, had a phenomenal season, but based on what we're seeing in front of us and the liability that comes along with Luis Gil, Clark Schmidt is a guy that we know what we're going to get when we hand him the ball.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big Clark Schmidt guy, but I'm not using that to bias what I'm saying here. I'm using it because I shouldn't say I'm using it. I'm saying Clark because I think Clark, I think what you're pretty much going to get with him, right? It's such a toss up whether or not if Gil's going to go out there and throw strikes. Curry thinks it's going to be Gil. Now, usually you take Curry's word as gospel, but he also said that before his outing yesterday. So I don't know if Jack Curry changes his mind or the Yankees change their mind. Am I going to be upset if they announce him and Schmidt's in the bullpen? No, because I think that he can go out there and straight up dominate, but it's a huge risk. And go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, here's where how you have to look at it, right? If Clark Schmidt and Luis Gil are both on their game, both are 2 really good pitchers, it's easy to say who's going to give you the more dominant start, right? If both of them are on their game, who's more dominant?
Was the more dominating stuff is Gil,
yes,
for sure.
But okay, for sure,
Schmidt,
right?
But Clark Schmidt has not pitched like a bum at all.
Hold on.
He rated out as an ace before his injury this year.
Right. So what I'm saying is that's how good Luis Gil is when he's on, right? So when you're talking about stuff, it's a flip of the coin because you don't know what Luis Gil you're going to get. However, what's not a flip of a coin is the consistency of Clark Schmidt, where even if he's not as dominant as Luis Gil on Luis Gil's best day, he's still going to be really good and way more reliable. And I think that's where Clark Schmidt wins.
Connor O'Neill with the super chat. Thank you, Connor. Guys, love the show. Christian, nice meeting you at the event. Always a pleasure meeting the fans out at an NYYU outing. So nice to meet you as well, Connor. Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with the whole Schmidt-Gil thing, because I think Nestor, my boy Nessie, I love you, Nessie. Oh, my heart.
Okay.
You hold my heart, Nessie. No, but
we are going to start banging.
I mean, it would be an injustice to leave Nestor out of the rotation. That's how good he's been since he got, like you said, bro, cried, threw his teammates under the bus, then went out there and balled out. That's all you're going to talk. You got to back it up. And Nestor backed it up.
Yeah. Do I like him? Really? No. Am I going to root for him? And do I think he deserves to be out there? Hell yeah. And I'll like you again, Nestor, under one circumstance. You're holding a fucking World Series trophy over your head at the end of the postseason. And then you're at the Canyon of Heroes floating down on a parade float.
Okay. Nestor floats. Okay.
Okay.
But a couple of things that we want to touch on here tonight. I mean, it's a nice. I feel. I don't know what this feeling is like, dude. We're coming on here, and there's nothing to be upset about. We're just kind of like going through things for the postseason here. It's like the Yankees have 6 games left. They just got to win one of them, and we're the AL East champs. They had a 5-1 road trip. There's nothing to be upset about. Like, what is this? What is this feeling here?
It just feels nice. I think SGR made a really good point before that the other teams, not only it's the best of both worlds here, not only do the Yankees look really good. I mean, we're not talking about a pushover team. A big chunk of this season has felt disappointing. Like you said, Christian, we were on here debating if this team was even going to make the postseason. They were in such a downward spiral.
That's how bad they were at one point.
And this still now isn't just a pushover team. This is a 90-plus win team. And then when you factor in the health, the good decisions, the more dominant bullpen right now, and like SGR said before, the competition around them. Not only are the Yankees the best in a sense of record, but for the first time in a long time, it's really tough to argue that the Yankees aren't the best built to at least win a pennant here.
There's 2 things that would potentially scare me in the postseason. Number one is if Detroit gets in and they face the Yankees, having to face Skubal twice in a short series, which, especially with the way the Yankees don't handle left-handed pitching, that could be scary. And not that I'm afraid of Cleveland, but if the Yankees find themselves in tough games, Cleveland's bullpen is disgusting, especially with Clase throwing 102-mile-an-hour cutters. I really don't want a part of that. But if you look at the field, the Orioles have their problems. I think the Yankees really match up well with the Orioles now. You know, people were saying, oh, I don't want to face Kansas City. Not that I'm going to disrespect Kansas City, but if you take out Clay Holmes blowing a game, the Yankees are 6-1 against KC this year. You know, and then you look at some other teams that the Yankees could potentially face. Houston, yeah, we got to slay the dragon, but this is not your typical Houston team going into the postseason. They don't have the pitching that they did. Now, until the Yankees beat the Houston Astros, I'm always going to give the Houston Astros that respect. But there's ever also a year for the Yankees to knock off the Astros. This is the year. You know, the Twins. Do I really have to?
No. No. But so let me bring this point up to you and let me know your thoughts. I almost hate to say this. It like makes me sick to my stomach. But given the state of the bullpen right now, because of the decisions they've made and the different feel to this bullpen, Weaver closing, dominating, it's made you feel like this team is built to win it all. I have to say that if they don't, I can't blame the front office this year. I know that after the trade deadline, it was disappointing because of the bullpen. But again, getting Clay Holmes out of the ninth inning closer role has changed the dynamic of this bullpen. I don't know that if they don't win it all, or at least a pennant, that I can blame the front office. And I haven't been able to say that in a long time.
We got another super chat from Ra. What's up, Ra? The Martian needs to play every damn day. He's too valuable despite his glove. And the Martian's coming on here. It came on here a little bit in Oakland. So we'll see, man. That's going to be one of the, I don't know. It's going to be kind of be one of those things that we're going to see how that really shakes out. Is that the Yankees want Verdugo's defense over and again, like the Martian's not tearing the cover off the ball, but he's starting to come around a little bit here. Is that the allure of how dynamic he could be in this lineup mean more than Verdugo's defense? And they can do what they did yesterday. Let the kid play. Take him out in the 7th inning.
Yeah. Sure. Yankees have a lot of options. And one thing that has definitely changed from the beginning of the year to now, having guys like Dominguez up and Birdie on the bench and Oswaldo Cabrera on the bench, this bench actually has some depth to it now, and speed and athleticism. So the Yankees have a lot of options. They have a lot of late inning options. Again, this team just feels there.
Yeah, and I know that I said that you can't be giving teams extra outs in the postseason. I get that, but you know what? That's where this is the way I look at it, right? What's the alternative to Anthony Rizzo right now at first base?
A guy who doesn't really play first base.
What's the alternative? You know, you can make a better argument, Verdugo, Dominguez, defense versus offense there in that situation. You're looking at, you're going to play a guy that in Oswaldo Cabrera that shouldn't be playing first base, only in an emergency.
I don't even know. Is this really like a real discussion?
People don't like, because Rizzo can't hit. He's not hitting. That's what it is. They don't value the defense. I mean, they're going to value it when Oswaldo Cabrera is not picking balls at first base, and you know, we're letting extra runners on there. But you know, we talked about that enough. I just want to wrap up. We kind of shifted off of that into the Rizzo talk there. But everybody here is in agreement. This is the most confident that we felt in an Aaron Boone led team going into the postseason.
For me, it's definite. Rick, you're on muties.
Oh crap, man! I've been on mute for a while. Then, yeah, no, I agree. I haven't really said too much, but definitely maybe had a few good points in there that thought I was just being ignored. No,
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Were you trying to talk?
I might have been, honestly. I can't really remember now, but let's play back, if you're watching, the last 10 minutes and just look at me on the screen. And
now, because I look at you, I watched you.
Yeah, you watch me.
I sat out while you were talking earlier. But I don't know if you were trying to say anything recently.
No, I really don't think I was. I think I was kind of just taking a step back and listening to the fellas for a bit. I was in the audience for a second.
We did ask the fans on NYYST_podcast on Twitter, is this the most confident you've been heading into the postseason on Aaron Boone? 73% of the fans voted yes. So I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. Go ahead.
I was good. Well, that's what I was kind of going to say, right? So the only argument beyond this year would be 2019, right? I mean, is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
2019 was a very good team. So I guess the question would be, why did we feel better about this team than we did in 2019? To me, it's the field. To me, they have this like
field and the health. I think those two factors are playing the biggest part. I almost want to say, as weak as the field is, the health being the way it is. I mean, when's the last time that this team has gone in?
Yeah, I don't want to
a little wood. I knocked wood. You're good. Okay? It's gone. It's out there, and I'm not a Chrissy Jinx.
We don't want to say Beetlejuice 3 times here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's maybe not say that word one more time, or Chris can't say the word because you said the word.
Said it
I
once.
said the word. So Chris, do not say the H word. Yeah.
This is the most complete the Yankees have been going into October.
So to me, it is definitely that, but
okay,
again,
tossing a word salad.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know anyone who does that. Okay.
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 To me, there's just this like young, like fun feel that the Yankees haven't had since Nick Swisher was in this clubhouse. I feel it. I think guys like Jazz, you have crazy Tommy Red Bulls just fucking raving in the clubhouse.
Is this their best clubhouse since 2009?
It could be. It definitely could be. You have Juan Soto walking away from an interview with Meredith so that he could dance in the center of a circle while getting champagne sprayed all over him. You have Luke Weaver sitting on the ground, a guy who was DFA'd how many times last year and had one of the worst ERAs in baseball, turning into an elite reliever.
Apparently, he was thinking about retiring after last year.
I know. And yet, this guy's sitting on the ground getting doused in champagne.
Little Nick Foles action.
Jazz Chisholm coming up to Anthony Volpi, spraying champagne all over him, screaming, "That's my shortstop." There's a different feel in this clubhouse than you got in 2019. And to me, that's the biggest difference in why I feel so strong about this team.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think the expectations, sorry, Christian, but the expectations were so high too then that we've kind of taken a step back. I know we still have those same expectations every single year, but that it's almost like an alleviated pressure of expectations with them this year that it's like, yeah, obviously you want that, but it doesn't feel like they're, on eggshells, if that makes sense.
They're not as tense.
Yeah,
they're
it's not as
not because of the
tense, not as
guys in the
tense.
clubhouse.
Good addition there.
There is because of the guys in that clubhouse. I think the Sotos and the Chisholms of the world have lightened up the Yankees, and you can't understate things like that, man. And I just want to touch on two things. We don't really have to spend a lot of time. Actually, I want to read a couple comments here.
Do you mind if I just say one more thing before you do that?
Okay.
It just touches on what you just said. Another point I wanted to make was those other teams, like going into October, you just saw so many guys who you were like, this guy's going to be a disaster in October. Like, you knew Gary Sanchez was going to come up and strike out 500 times with the bases loaded. And like, there was just so many guys. And this year, I look at this lineup top to bottom and I can pick out like 6 guys who I could imagine being a hero in October. And I haven't felt that way in a long time.
Great point.
So you got Brad Jewis chiming in here with on the poll here. It says definitely the best lineup talent-wise Boone's ever had. Definitely the best rotation. The only questionable part of the roster is the bullpen, which I want to touch on that because I think the Yankees bullpen, it's missing the big sexy name, but I think this is the strongest the bullpen's been all year.
There's kind of something cool about that, right?
Even with Jake Cousins going on the IL, I think this is the strongest the bullpen's been all year. And all they had to do was take Clay Holmes out of the closer's role.
It's crazy.
Who knew?
It's insane.
Wow, really?
Could this be the first championship team that has a scrappy bullpen? Like, that's the best way to describe the Yankee bullpen. They're just a scrappy.
Luke Weaver is that dude.
But he's not
Luke
supposed
Weaver is
to
that
be.
dude.
But he's not supposed to be.
But he's that dude.
He is. And that's what makes it so
That's
great. I mean, we're talking about a group of guys.
Do you ever watch those videos when they ask him a question as they're walking into the clubhouse? He's the most goofy, awkward, like weirdo.
So awkward. Looks like he still lives with his mother's basement.
Maybe he does.
I think he does.
Guess what? Don't care.
Don't care. He could sleep with her for all I care.
Whoa.
Not in that kind of way.
Whoa.
Not in that kind of way.
So if you're talking about teams without a dominant like bullpen, I would say the most recent was the Nationals in 2019. They kind of didn't really have a
but they had
a closer role.
They had Strasburg coming out of the bullpen.
It was a Corbin.
Okay, yeah, but still, I mean, that's not a closer. That's a starting.
No, they got
that's
right. They got creative, and they
got creative. Right.
You know who else was on that team?
Scrappy.
Juan Soto, baby.
Juan Soto. And then Dr. 2023 says, he goes, no, because Holmes keeps playing.
Yeah, but he's not closing anymore. So
I mean, you have to understand something. For the Yankees to get to that point is such a huge thing that they've removed this guy. And yesterday, when Aaron Boone didn't fuck around and knew he was ready to puke all over himself, 3 batters, and he was done. Is that the final straw for him? It remains to be seen. I still think the Yankees are going to try to force this at least one time in the postseason, and it could be one time too many. But I think the Yankees are also at a point where your leash is as short as it possibly can be.
Do you know what?
Go ahead.
Do you know what's just truly amazing? You want to give Luke Weaver credit for being really good this year, friggin' phenomenal for this team. He deserves every bit of it, but the Yankees are a team that Clay Holmes had how many blown saves, and they're still
13.
They're still staring at you in your eyes in the postgame saying, he's our guy. He's our guy. It took something beyond magical to pull that out of the narrative of this clubhouse and make it so it's not even a question anymore that Luke Weaver is your closer. This guy had to come in, take the job by the fucking horns, and dominate and run with it. And Luke Weaver did that the second. Luke Weaver did that the second he got the job. And then he gives that post-game interview where he says he blacks out. And you're just like, dude, this is my guy. And the Yankees never looked back. They never had to after that.
Does Aaron Boone scare you going to the postseason?
Not if the team's going to play this well. There's not much. Here's why. There's not much he can do.
Except for putting Clay Holmes in the game.
Okay, well, sure. I mean, it's a very short list. Does Aaron Boone scare me in a sense of he will still touch on the things we make of that short list? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I got to say, though, there was a stretch when things were looking bleak that he was very noticeable. That was the word we were all using.
Yeah,
hasn't been that noticeable lately.
When the Yankees win, you don't notice them, and when they lose, it magnifies the things that you don't like about them. And I've always said that.
Yeah,
I think the Yankees have enough talent where they can overcome Aaron Boone, and I really feel going into October that Aaron Boone will have to have the worst managerial performance of all time
if we're noticing
to cost the Yankees a World Series this year. I really feel if they're going to get beat, they're going to get beat.
Yeah, and here's just something I want to bring up real quick. This team, I guess we feel so good about them because we've been waiting for a team to take the division. Like both the Orioles and the Yankees have left it up in the air, passing the baton to each other. No one's been able to capitalize. The Yankees capitalized. And when you really look back on this season, it was really difficult. It was a tough pill to swallow that we were losing so many games because our closer couldn't close out a lead in the ninth inning. How many more wins does this team have? How many more games do they have in the AL East? Probably like 11. They're probably up 11 games.
They're definitely playing for nothing right now. They have the first seed and the division locked up right now.
So my point is I feel like we feel better about this team also because obviously, yes, they're winning more, but the games they're losing aren't being lost in the ninth inning, being up 1, 2, even 3 runs. Right. And being blown by the guy that we're supposed to rely on the most.
I mean, look, Clay Holmes is the reason why there isn't a 100-game winner this season in baseball because they had 92 wins. You blew 13 games. You'd say 5 of those are maybe losses anyway. The other 8 gets the Yankees at 100 right now if the season ended today. That's a crazy amount of games. The difference in 10 games.
SGR math.
Okay. Carry the 2. Could do that, and Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer of all time.
Have you listened to his podcast at all recently?
No.
Someone sent me a clip. I forget what he was flipping out about, but
Octua.
Aaron Rodgers, he had to push Robert Saleh in the chest, make a whole spectacle. Just take a high five, take a hug, go onto the bench, and play the next round. Why does everything have to be like this in New York? Why?
He's really phoning it in these days. I listened to it today because it was a Giant post game, and I was like, "Oh, I'll listen to it. They won. I'll listen to it." Right? And all it was is Neighbors is good. Okay, Neighbors. Jones
Neighbors
was okay.
Is good.
Okay.
He's the real deal. Looks like the Giants hit on that pick. Daniel Jones still absolutely awful. But Neighbors, he's good. He's good.
That's basically what he said for 20 minutes. Neighbors is good, okay. Neighbors.
He made a spectacular catch. It was unlike one I've seen in a long time. He's very good.
And then he would say something else, and then he'd be like, "Okay, the defense. Okay, they had 8 sacks, but neighbors is good."
But won't you be my neighbors? Okay.
All right, let's wrap up some Oakland talk here, because Friday was one of those really cool games that you get to very few and far between to when you get
A starter
through
going 9
162. You know,
and
does it erase what Gerrit Cole did against Boston? No, but it's the first step towards redemption, going out there and allowing 2 singles over 9 innings and only throwing 99 pitches, where people were like, "Send them out for the 10th." No, we're not doing that. Okay,
no, but
that's how
no, you're not doing it,
that's
but he could have. He could have.
that's how good he was.
And that's what you want to see. You want to be able to say you don't have to do it, but if they had to, he could have.
If it's game 7,
He could have.
you think about it.
You think
You
about
really
it.
think about it.
You probably
Sure.
do it.
You do it.
Oh, in game 7?
Fuck
But
yeah,
that's a
dude.
travesty, dude. Your ace goes out there and allows 2 hits over 9 innings, 2 singles, right? And that was one of my doze off periods when apparently somebody said that the first hit shouldn't even really been a hit. The play should have been made. So then he could have really, in theory, pitched a complete game shutout. The Yankees go through these, but look, you get that performance out of Gerrit Cole. We all needed to see that out of Gerrit Cole after what happened in Boston. The opponent irrelevant, right? But he needed to show you that he's still got that in him, and he did. I know Jamison Tyone wants to stick up for his buddy, which is great. But you know what? We're only the reaction to that only came out because of the respect we have for Gerrit Cole and the pedestal that we put him on. Okay, so that's why people like me had that reaction towards it. But then Juan Soto, the Yankees had already taken the lead on a pass ball, but Juan Soto's up there, and he just booms one into the gap there to really kind of ice the game. And it's just like, this guy would have like his Willis Reed moment. Obviously, you want him to have big October, but like you look at him do things like that, and then remember, didn't he found the ball off his foot at Yankee Stadium, and then he fucking tanks one on the next pitch
On one
one
leg.
foot? Yeah, like where this is why you feel so different about this team, because the guy crashes into a wall, a la Dustin Fowler in like 2017. Dustin Fowler was one of the top prospects the Yankees had. Was done cooked at that point.
Didn't even get an at bat.
Juan Soto just comes back, hits doubles after that. It's just, this guy is just built differently, and I think the Yankees need that guy, and I think he's going to take so much pressure off of Aaron Judge. People want to talk about, Aaron Judge sucks in the post. Yeah, okay, Aaron Judge's numbers aren't great in the postseason, but he doesn't have to do everything now. And just think about lifting that weight off of his shoulders, where he doesn't have to go into October thinking he has to do everything, because he has Juan Soto now.
Yeah, that really hits it, because you talk about all these different elements of why it feels different this year, and Juan Soto is really at the back of all of those things. You talk about health. Maybe they're healthier this year because they're playing more and they're pushing themselves more and they aren't sitting. And Juan Soto's playing every day. He's setting that example. Maybe the clubhouse is a little bit more relaxed and lighter because it's Juan Soto in there acclimating and getting these guys to kind of take it easy a little bit. And then maybe the field is a little bit less strong because Juan Soto isn't on a different team. It's as simple as that the field becomes easier because he's on your team wearing pinstripes.
Well, I said this from the beginning of the season. Like, you could make your arguments of the Yankees' weaknesses and other team strengths, but there's one thing that no other team had, and it was Juan Soto and Aaron Judge in the same lineup. And that in itself is just something that not many teams will ever get to say. They have 2 guys back to back that are just that heroic in this sport, and 2 names that we will never forget. But there was something about Juan Soto coming into pinch hit in Oakland after you're holding your breath
Because of the late scratch too, has really got you
Be-
like
because of
got
the
you
late
worried.
scratch, because of when the injury actually happens, this guy gets up, throws the ball in because God forbid he lets any bit of pain take him out of the game in
His
any
hand is
way.
still busted from how long ago that
Still.
was.
But he throws the ball in again on one leg and falls to the ground. And all you can think is, please, God, no. And then he's a late scratch. And then his name gets announced. And the most obvious thing is you're looking at his back knee and how taped up it is, wrapped up it is, envisioning how much pain this guy probably is in, and refuses to not be a part of helping this team win. And not only just getting up to the plate alone was enough for you to kind of get chills and feel good. But then he comes through with that base hit, and you're just like, this team right now is on another level.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to talk about from this series is Anthony Volpi went 5 for 12 with 4 runs batted in after being pinch hit for in the ninth inning against Seattle in a 1-run game. You know what? How do I want to say this? Anthony Volpe got put on notice in Seattle that your spot isn't as secure as you might think that it is, and he responded. He came back out there, 3 hits on Friday. He finished 5 for 12 with 4 RBIs. Danny, I'm sorry, I don't want to trigger anybody by saying their name wrong. We'll just go Danny Naba. Okay, if I'm saying that right, Yanks need that wild card trip. Okay. Soto and Judge is our version of Manny Poppy. Weaver is on fire. No one in the AL scares me. We are World Series bound. Okay. Very confident there.
Oh, needed that West Coast trip.
Oh,
Right?
needed that
That's-
West
yeah.
Coast trip.
I was
Okay,
thinking wild
gotcha.
card in this.
I am because we're
Yeah.
we're on to the postseason,
Yeah, they
baby.
did need that. They needed that.
They
You're right.
needed that, man. That really cemented the
huge.
Yankee season there. But back to Volpe here. Now Volpe's got to carry that through this next week here into the postseason. But if he gets hot and has a huge October, you got to give Aaron Boone a lot of credit for that. That he woke Volpe up, man. Because a lot of times we've come on here and said that these guys, it's a Mickey Mouse clubhouse. Everybody's running around with cupcakes and juice boxes. They pulled Clay Holmes from the closer role. Volpe didn't get to hit in a 1-run game. I mean, there's been more accountability on this team than we've seen in a long time. So you got to give Aaron Boone a little bit of credit for that. And Anthony Volpe responded with a big series in Oakland. Now, if he goes 1 for whatever against Baltimore and struggles in the postseason, then how much credit do you really give Aaron Boone? But the fact of the matter is that nobody would have ever thought Anthony Volpe would have been pitch hit for in that situation. Boone did it, and Volpe responded in the next 3 games.
Yeah, I think you got to give credit to Boone for the accountability factor, and you got to give a lot of credit to Volpe for the response. I mean, those are decisions that, as a manager, we've been waiting for. We've been, what year was it when Torrey moved A-Rod down to the 7 hole or whatnot?
6. I want to say it's 06. That was the year against the Tigers.
All right, and then, those are things that, as a fan, you're screaming at the television like, this guy can't be batting 3rd or 4th or wherever he was, and you're just waiting for those decisions. I mean, this was an easy decision in a sense of Volpe just wasn't getting the job done, and then it's up to the player to respond, really. And Volpe did a great job. He's got to have a good series against Baltimore here. I don't think his job's in jeopardy, but again, even when Volpe is struggling, he's a kid who I think can kind of have a really big moment in October.
And that was Game 4 of the 2006 ALDS when A-Rod was
Roman De
slotted
Los
in.
Santos in the chat just said, credit to Boone. He's peeing standing up now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, nice.
But we got a super chat from JXV88. His bullpen management, he being Boone, okay, pronouns pal, management scares me, needs to be more Bochy. That's the thing. Is Boone going to? We don't have to get into this because we have 2 more shows, and this is our final live episode on NYYU of the regular season. I can't believe that that's real.
Wow.
But we'll sit down. We'll come up with a schedule. We'll be on NYYU throughout the course of the postseason. But is Boone going to know when to get the starter? Is he going to try to squeeze one more out of a guy? These are things that this is where he can put his imprint on a game.
That's been his downfall in recent years too. The
But I
bullpen
think-
moves and the
But
the
I think that
postseason.
outside of Clay Holmes, I think the guys have all worked themselves out. Ian Hamilton, Tommy Canley, Luke Weaver, Tim Hill. Those are your guys. Those are your core 4. Hate to use that terminology, but those are your core 4 relievers right now. Right? Hamilton, Hill, Tommy K, and Weaver, right? Those are your 4
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
Tim fucking Hill.
Dude, he kind of just comes in, slings, and gets the job done.
All right, I'm going home.
Yeah, it's really
I
it.
would honestly, man, my heart breaks that Tonki's not part of this, man. He should be
I
part
know.
of this.
He really should be, and I
The
hope that
hockey
doesn't
talking
ever
man.
come back to bite us.
He
Imagine
should
we
be
don't
part of this.
have
Speaking of
World
guys
Series for them.
DFA'd, this most recent guy we won't have to worry about in the postseason at all. But did you see Marinaccio got picked up by the
White Sox.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Sucks.
Yankees. That's another guy. The Yankees did that to get Cody Petit on the 40-man roster. That could be that could be an X factor in the bullpen for the Yankees in
Who,
October.
Petit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be an X factor for the Yankees. Swing guy, could give you a couple innings. Never know. The Yankees like his stuff. We saw him in that game against Cleveland doubleheader earlier this year. He's a guy that can get outs. I mean, his stuff is not going to wow you, but definitely is a guy that can come out there and maybe make his presence felt here. And I think, and we got Kev Boogie. I'm expecting all of you on 329. Okay, we're going to be back in the Audi Club. I don't know if Pete's officially announced that, but Kev knows about it, so I guess everybody does. Okay, need you all there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll take it home from here, man. I don't know if anything else that you guys really want to talk about. The excellent West Coast trip, finished it off with a sweep.
Is Christian frozen on your end?
Yeah, totally. He keeps chunking a bit over there in the bottom of corner of my screen over there.
At least it's not
Can you hear me?
this time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
now
can
we
hear
can,
you,
but you're
just
still
you're frozen.
frozen.
Yeah,
This is
I'm on
Elgato.
I'm actually using a Wi-Fi hotspot here, so
Why'd you have
that's
to
probably
bring up Elgato, Chris? Like, see this?
Yeah, dude, I fucking
Bring it
jinxed
up.
it.
Now he's gone.
Oh
Now
my
he's off.
god.
Now I gotta stand up here, dude. Oh, at least I got a promotion here. I got full screen box here
Yeah, fuck it.
on the side.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Am I back?
Your voice is.
We can
now
hear you.
Sound like you're my inner fucking monologue.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah.
Are you
let's
now,
just-
I'm
You
Let-
better wrap up the show.
Yeah, that was that was the cue. I knew it was time to go. We were pushing the envelope there. But the Yankees are one win away from wrapping up the American League.
This is such a bad sign.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we could hear you, dude.
All right. Let's just
great.
wrap this
Just
up here.
don't
Wrap
say
it
a
up.
lot. Just say
Go.
time to end the show because you're gonna cut out again.
All right. Well, the Yanks are one win away. They got 3 against Baltimore. So let's hopefully we'll wrap this up by Wednesday, which will be the 10-year anniversary of Derek Jeter's final game at Yankee Stadium. He can't believe that's been 10 years. So we want to thank everybody that's been in the chat tonight.
I told him. I said stop talking.
Stop with the
He just-
speeches to end the episode. Just bang it
Yeah.
out, dude. Give
All
the
right,
slogans, and end it.
just say goodbye.
All right. We'll just say this. Thank you very much for your continued support of NYYST and NYY Underground SGR.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Can't make a promise, but I do my best. 25 sitting on 25 racks. Just got started, no, we ain't done yet. But a new crib, that's a goddamn flex. Sign that check. Told them last year that I've been up next. Can't take calls with a send